Hello, welcome back to the reading portion of the week. Sorry, I sound so yucky. I'm suffering from a sinus infection, but I still want to try to read a chapter or two for you. Hopefully, if it's not too bad. Might just be one chapter, but we'll see. I'm going to do my best. So, Boredom Academy. The wedding disaster weekend was followed by the usual miserable Monday. Oh, did I say Boredom Academy? Warning, this triggering, this could be upsetting. Mom pull up to the drop-off curb, and Miss Marcia poked her head into our car, wearing her same orange, saggy sweater. Breath stank like a cigarette-smoking donkey, even with all the wintergreen mints she stashed in her cheeks like a squirrel. When she talked, she was a symphony of crunching and sucking sound. Morning, Miss Wood. Hope you packed more of Charity's extra clothes. She's been having lots of accidents lately. Mom gave me a worried glance. That's strange. She hardly ever has a problem with us at home. Miss Marcia unbuckled my seatbelt. She yanked me out of the car with one hand and grabbed my Wonder Woman backpack with the other. What a joke. A helpless girl with a superhero backpack. Still, I sometimes imagine my body spinning around and around. I love to spin. And in a burst of smoke, I would transform into Wonder Woman, strong and powerful, ready to kick butt. I put $3 in Charity's front pocket so she can buy hot lunch today, Mom said. Miss Marcia smiled sweetly, putting on her angel face, her I care deeply about your child face that she wore in front of parents. Oh, I'll make sure she gets it, Miss Marcia sang. Sloppy Joes today. I know how much she loves those. I packed some of her sixth grade vocabulary flashcards in her work we've been working on, Mom said. Could you go over those with her as well? Of course, Miss Wood. As soon as Mom's car drove away, Miss Marcia's smile disappeared. She reached into my pocket, pulled out $3, and stuffed them into her own pocket. I saw her do this to other kids too, and I knew I would not be eating sloppy joes today. I also knew the flashcards would never leave my backpack. If I ever do become Wonder Woman, watch out, Miss Marcia. You are first on my kick butt list. Kids who cannot talk are easy targets for bullies. At Borden, I learned teachers can be bullies too. Probably the only thing I ever learned at Borden. My first few years of school, I was passed around like a radioactive potato to special education classrooms at 4 different schools. Most teachers made up their mind about me. The second I stumbled through the door, only one teacher believed I could learn, Miss Amaria in first grade. Because she loved nature, Miss Amaria took us on field trips to the park, for the forest, and the beach. We sniffed wild sage, observed ground squirrels, learned about bird calls, and searched for roly-poly bugs under rocks. She helped us grow a vegetable garden in the school courtyard and taught us how to make a blade of grass sing by blowing on it through our fingers. Well, she taught other students that. I still cannot blow out my birthday candles. She even hung picture books from trees outside our classroom to create what she called our reading forest. Most important, Miss Amaria looked at me with possibilities instead of limitations. When she saw I liked Annabelle books, she sat with me to read and then asked, What do you want to do when you grow up, Charity? Maybe you'd enjoy working with a vet or in a zoo. maybe even a vet in a zoo. She grinned wide, and I smiled inside, thinking about how to take an elephant's pulse or diagnose a sick skunk without getting sprayed. After first grade, school became more and more frustrating. I needed extra help, but the schools could not let mom come with me. With no voice, no handwriting, and fidgety fingers that would not point to the answers my brain chose, I would think to myself, diagnosis doomed. If I colored outside the lines, I would grab an eraser, but I couldn't stop my hand from rubbing a big hole into my paper, which would make me crumple the paper and throw it on the floor, howling. That's when I learned about timeout. But the timeout jittered me even more. So one timeout led to another and another. By third grade, I was considered too special for public school. That's when the thinkers pressured my parents to send me to a private institution. Definitely institution. A defined institution? A place where people are separated from the world instead of included. Separated can never be equal. Borden Academy was not a real school. Schools are places for learning. Borden was a prison camp for disabled kids, complete with an escape proof 8 foot high chain link fence. Even the staff called it Boredom Academy. When Miss Marcia pulled the $3 from my pants, she left the inside of my pocket sticking out. I get frustrated by things not in their place. Great. That is going to bug me all day. Miss Marcia was the teacher's aide for our class for 3 years straight. What grade were we in? What did it matter? Nothing ever changed from one wasted year to the next. Miss Marcia led me through the front of the gate. This day, as on many days, my feet refused to move any farther. My hopeless body plopped onto the blacktop about 25 yards from the classroom. Oh, for Pete's sake! Miss Marcia yelped. My body rocked back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I knew what was coming. Charity, get up! Get up! Charity, get up! Charity, get up! I wanted to scream, I cannot do it, and your yelling does not help me. Back and forth, back and forth. The thinkers say I lack coordination. I call it motor madness. Sometimes I'm a broken robot stuck on repeat, doing the same thing over and over and over and over. I tap the table, squint my eyes, rock back and forth, or flush the toilet. Other times it's like someone hits the off switch and I freeze. This happens at least once a week in the car when mom pulls pulled into our driveway. I knew I was supposed to get out, but my body became a marble statue. She tried to pull or push me in the right direction. Probability of moving, 0. Finally, she made the best of it and stashed a few books in the front seat so she could sit and read to me until the oh so sweet moment my on switch worked again and hooray, I could control my movement. She did not get mad. She seemed to understand I could not help it. Miss Marcia, on the other hand, squawked like a peahen, that's a female peacock, when my body froze. Her approach was to control me, not to help me learn to move independently. For the last time, get up! Page 211. A group of peahens is called a party. A group of Miss Marcia's? That's no party. Just sit there then, she said. I couldn't give a rat's rump. She dragged her worn out loafers into the classroom, which was actually a trailer, and left me sitting in the middle of a great playground. A playground where no kids ever played. A couple of times she glanced out the window to see if I had decided to cooperate. Or maybe she wanted to make sure there was no visitors who might be walking through the courtyard. Another set of eyes peeked outside when Miss Marcia left. Isabella, my one and only friend in this place. Her small round face was topped with a mop of red curls. She knocked on the window and waved to me to come inside. She kept waving until someone pulled her away. Sad to say, my legs still refused. And so I sat and sat. Page 4. The albatross sits on its eggs up to 80 days before the egg hatches. If Mom did not coat me with SPF 70 sunscreen every day, I would resemble a cooked lobster. Page 159. Lobsters turn red when cooked, but in nature they can be many colors, even blue. A sharp pebble poked my bottom, but my butt was glued to the ground. Move, legs, move! I squinted my eyes from the bright sunlight until the world became blurry, and I imagined myself as a peaceful protester, like one of the brave people who fought for justice with Martin Luther King Jr. They sat down and refused to get up until they had equal rights. Nobody was marching or sitting down for people like me. Isabella poked her head in the window again and held up a book. She waved at me like a baseball coach waving a runner to home plate. That finally triggered my legs to stand, and I staggered into the classroom. Mom and Dad only saw this place when it was scrubbed and decorated for Parents' Night once a year. If only they could get a peek any of the other 364 days, Mom would have a heart attack. Though one of our chaos-filled zero education classroom, and Mom would know. She would just know, and she would save me. Isabella ran up and squealed my name. Charity, Charity, Charity is here. She grabbed my hand and pulled me over to the beanbag chair. Come with me and look at this at books. Her freckled cheeks puffed up in a smile, and her blue eyes, slanted a little from her Down syndrome, sparkled. Even this rotten place could not squeeze all the joy from her heart. Isabella could not read, and so I so wished I could read to her. She deserved a chance to learn. Everyone here did. She patted the green plastic beanbag chair, its holes covered with duct tape. I sat down, and Isabella held up a book about elephants for both of us to see. I wanted to tell her all about the amazing facts about them. Page 62. African elephants feel a wide range of emotions like grief, happiness, and compassion. Most people do not know that I feel these emotions too. Clever Isabella made up her own story about a mama elephant who wanted to take her baby elephant to the hair salon. Her copper curls bounced as she told her tale. I tried to focus on her sweet smile and her eyes that grew wide when she got the exciting part of the story. Every cell in my body itched to get out of this place, this waiting room for hopeless cases. According to the thinkers, we were all throwaway kids that did not deserve an education. Kids in wheelchairs were parked in front of an ancient television in the back of the room, forced to watch Barney for the 10,000th time. I wanted to scream. They have brains, you know. So do I. My ears were drowning in the noise. Shouting and moaning kids, silly singing blaring from the television. It was the singing that made me want to stuff these beanbag chairs into my ears. No escaping the horrible smell either, like a mixture of sweat socks, wet dog, and Miss Marcy's donkey breath. My brain overloaded. Woodpeckers chipped at my skull. Page 320. The woodpecker, chisel like bill, pecked at a rate of 20 times each second. I wondered what kids in real school were learning today. Maybe how to calculate the area of a circle, or what Shakespeare meant by to be or not to be, or why rotten eggs smell like farts. Do those kids know how lucky they are? Probability low. Miss Marcia patrolled the room like a prison guard, snapping at kids to knock it off or put a lid on it, and threatening to banish them to the dreaded timeout closet. I lived in fear of it every moment. Each lockup uh, chipped away at my already broken heart. Could I escape it today? My body felt restless. I got up and shook my hands and legs. Maybe I could shake off the hopelessness. Shake, shake, shake. My feet walked towards a boy named Jacob playing with Lego blocks. He could not talk either, but he built amazing structures from the sad, mismatched Lego collection kept in a plastic laundry basket. How could they not see his cleverness? He stacked his bricks in tall towers 17 blue, 19 red, 23 green, 29 yellow, all prime numbers. I reached out to touch a soaring tower and he screamed with full force. That made me scream too. Ah! You will be okay, Charity. You'll be okay. Kind Isabella was there in a flash, patting my cheek. Thank goodness, her kindness helped my mouth to close and my body to settle. But the peace did not last long. Miss Marcia pulled me by the arm and sat me in the nearest chair. She plunked a jack in the box on the table in front of me. Behavior data reports were due every day, so it was time for me to fail another test. Turn the handle. Turn the handle. Turn the handle. She repeated the same words robotically. I begged for words. First of all, a jack in the box is a toy for a 4-year-old, not a 13-year-old. Second of all, I would not turn the handle if I could. I do not want to see that white clown face jump out with his creepy smile, yellow hair, and missing eye. My arm knocked the rusty metal box on the floor. You're tap dancing on my last nerve, missy. Miss Marcia sucked and crunched her mince like while marking my failure on the useless chart that analyzed the daily progress for the thinkers. Progress. What a joke. Then she picked up the jack in the box, held it 2 inches in my nose, and twisted the silver tiny handle. Here's how you're supposed to do it, muttering for the umpteenth time under her breath. Da-ding, 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 ping, ping. Each ding and ping slapped my ear. The smell of her donkey breath hit me in the nose. Da-ding, 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 ping. My heart... Sorry. My heart pounded fast. Every note turned up the heat on the boiling kettle inside me. I begged my body, please stay in control. Please stay in control. Miss Marcia smiled like the creepy clown. Da-ding, da-ding, my bulldog impulse took over. My hands squeezed into fists. Firecrackers exploded in my nose. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Countdown to kettle explosion. 3, 2, 1. I jumped up, knocking the toy to the floor, and screeched like a bat on fire. Ah! Page 15. Bats can produce sounds louder than a rock concert. Isabella appeared by my side and jumped with me, clapping her hands. Oh no, too late. Miss Marcia pushed Isabella away and grabbed my arm. I knew what was coming. No. Ah! Miss Marcia dragged me across the room, opened the closet door. No. Ah! My mouth moaned. My fingers gripped the door frame. Miss Marcia peeled my fingers off one by one. Slam, click, timeout closet. Cave dark except for the ray of light peeking under the door. Page 15. Bats use sound waves to navigate the dark. My body screamed and jumped. Ah! Ah! Locked up like a beast. They locked me away instead of trying to understand me, trying to help me. Ah! I'm worthless. Moldy bread. A spit out piece of gum in the gutter. After a few minutes, my mouth stopped screaming. I puffed air to catch my breath. There was nothing to do in here, nothing to sit on, even. I lay on the floor and peered beneath the door. Isabella's purple sneakers paced back and forth, back and forth. I could hear her crying. She was loyal like that. Time stopped, and I squeezed my eyes shut. I am valuable. I'm precious. I deserve a real life. If only I could believe it. I felt a nudge on my shoulder and a wet nose on my arm. A gray wolf gently licked my cheek. I opened my eyes, large as IMAX film. The amazing animals filled from my kids' encyclopedia surrounded me to form a protective circle, one that Miss Marcia could never get through. I am valuable, I'm precious, I deserve a real life. Music rang in my mind. What a song, what song was it? Tubby Trash Bags? No, no one of our favorites. Beethoven's Ode to Joy. My animals swayed to the powerful chords of the organ. The one with uh, feet did anyway. Around and around they circled, swaying, almost dancing. I danced with them. Spin, sway, twirl, spin, spin, sway, twirl, spin. I spun and I spun and I spun and I spun until poof, and a burst of smoke. My IMAX film changed scenes. I looked down at my golden lasso, my tall red boots. I was Wonder Woman. My superhero cape flew behind me as I kicked open the closet door. Kablam! Miss Marcia froze when she saw me and lifted her top lip at a sneer, showing her brow, crooked teeth. She rolled up her sleeves, ready to fight. She stared at me. I stared at her. She laughed her evil laugh. Wahahaha. She did not scare me anymore. Time to kick butt. Miss Marcia shot Legos at me so fast that they were just colored streaks of light. Pow, pow, pow. I deflected them with my metal bracelets. Ping, ping, ping. I jumped straight in the air. Choom! And landed it on the desk in front of the room. Miss Marcia let out a shriek. Zoinks! And ran for the door. And that's when I twirled a lasso of truth. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And wrangled Miss Marcia kaboosh. The kids cheered. My animals roared, brayed, chirped, and squawked their approval. Captured in the lasso of truth, Miss Marcia confessed everything. I hate children. I steal their lunch money. I haven't washed my socks in 3 months, and I have donkey breath. She laughed her evil laugh. Wahahaha! Everyone cheered again when I locked Miss Marcia in the timeout closet. Kablam! Then I loaded all the kids into my invisible jet, and we soared far away from Borden forever. 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 I have been locked in here forever. How many more minutes until I would be released from this prison? Would it matter? My mind would never escape the prison in my broken body. It was a life sentence. I'm gonna stop there because I feel like I'm about to hack a long out. So I hope you enjoyed that chapter. I will see you next week. Thank you.